Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm going to be reviewing Tonga Bonga from designer Stefan Dora and publisher Plate Games. This was a game that was originally released in 1998 and was actually a Spiel recommendation that year in a much different box size. This is a new edition in a much smaller box. Let me show you how it plays, head over to the table, and then we'll come back here and let you know what I think. Tonga Bonga is one of the L-board series of games from publisher Plate Games, and the way that it works is that the box itself becomes the game board. So basically what starts as this, through a process of unfolding and attaching, is going to look a little different. Let me show you how it looks all set up. And here you see it set up for 4 players. The first player is going to put their player board to the very left of this lineup along the lowest side, once that has been randomly determined. Then you're going to go through a series of rounds that is going to end when one player has placed all 4 of their flags on islands around the game board and return to Tonga Bonga. At the end of that round, the game will end, and the player that has the most ducats or money is going to be the winner of the game, not necessarily the player that got to Tonga Bonga first. Okay, so the first thing that's going to happen in a round is wage determination. And so you're going to choose how much money you're going to be putting on each of the icons on your hiring board, all right? And that's going to be done in player order. Every player starts with 20 ducats, and you're going to choose how many coins you're going to be placing on your captain and your sailor. You have to put at least 1 coin, but beyond that, there are no limitations beyond the amount of money that you have. You are wanting people to hire your captain and your sailor because they're going to be spending dice to do so, and the higher value dice, the further your ship is going to move. So, for example, let's say that the orange player who's first is saying, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give 5 coins to whoever hires my captain and 3 to whoever hires my sailor. The red player then would have a chance, maybe they would go 3 and 1. Yellow player might go 2 and 2. And the white player may say, well, someone's going to have to come over here, so I'm just going to go ahead and put 1 and 1 on mine and see what happens. All right? So you lay out what the wages you're willing to pay for each of your crew members at the beginning of a round. The second step is crew placement, and that's where each player in turn order is going to roll their 3 dice. These are D6s of their color, 1 to 5, and instead of a 6, you've got this seasick leaning over the railing there. That's not particularly good. And you go ahead and roll your dice. After you see what you rolled, you can choose to re-roll 1 to 3 of those dice, and in this case, you certainly might want to do it because a 1, and a seasick is not great. So to do that, you have to roll you have to spend 2 ducats to be able to roll from 1 to 3 of those dice. Every subsequent re-roll is going to cost 1 more ducat, so another re-roll will cost 3, then 4. So let's go ahead and say they re-rolled those, and they still have this. Well, what this means is that actually can't even be assigned to a ship. So orange player says, all right, this player is paying 3 and 1. Maybe they're going to put that there. They're going to go ahead and put this one here, and this one can't even be placed. Then the red player will go. They say, okay, well, I'm going to place this 4 here. When you place onto a spot that already has a die, if it's higher, you move it so that it goes in descending order. And maybe they'll place this one here, and maybe they'll go ahead and place this one here. Then the yellow player is going to go like this, 4 and 2 and 2, and then the white player, whoa, hates that, going to re-roll all of it. 1, 3, and a seasick. Maybe they'll go here, and then this one will just go here. All right? So, after everyone has placed their dice, then we're going to go to the next phase of the round, which is navigation. During navigation, you're going to add up the number of pips on the dice on your game board, and you're going to be able to move your ship that many spots. So in the case of the orange player here, they've got 8 points of movement. In and around these islands, you've got these kind of wavy island spots, and those are shared spots. So any number of ships can be in there. Normally, you can only have one ship per hex. And so the distinguishing between the wavy lines is that you can have any number there, but orange is going to go going to go up to 8 spots. What you want to do is you want to land on these islands so that you can place one of your flags there. When you do so, you're going to get some ducats. So if they have 8, maybe they decide to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because it costs 1 to go in there, and then they get to go ahead and place one of their flags or camps on that island. If you're the first player, like the orange one is, to set up camp at an island, you're going to get 25 ducats that you can go ahead and add to your bank. If there are other players there, so the next player that came here would have to pay 5 coins to whoever else got there before them. So the second player that gets to this island is going to have to pay the orange player 5 ducats when they receive their 25. There are some other little movement rules, so they actually would have one more bit of movement, so maybe they went out over here. If you are ever in a position where you need to go through somebody, you can do so, but it's going to cost you an extra point of movement because you cannot be in the same spot. So if white wanted to move this way, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to do so. Randomly placed around the board are these little bonus tokens. Well, not all of them are great, but they're going to do certain things when you get to them on the board. This tile is just simply going to give you 8 ducats when you reach that tile. These tiles are going to give you extra points of movement that you can add to the movement you already have. So this is adding 3 more points of movement to wherever you were at when you landed on it, and you would continue through. This is a ghost ship. This is going to be a spot where if you move adjacent to the ghost ship, you're going to have to pay gold, 3 per however many dice you have on your ship. Luckily for the players, this is kind of down here in the corner, so it doesn't hurt them too much. When it ends up in a place like this, it can be a little bit more devastating. And then you've got something like this, which when you pick this up, it's saying that you will get 12 coins when you deliver it to that island. So when you actually reach that island, you would turn this in and get that amount of gold. All right. So every player is going to do this. They're going to move. They're going to try to set up camps, things along those lines. And then we get to the final step of the round, which is wage payment. During wage payment, everyone's going to get the number of coins that are above their colored dice. So orange is going to get these 2 and this 1. Yellow is going to get 5, 6, 7. Red's going to get 3, 4, 5. And white's going to get 3. All right. At that point, the dice get removed. We move the last player, or excuse me, the first player, I should say, to the last spot and then slide these down, and you continue over and over again until one player has placed all 4 of their camps and has returned to Tonga Bonga. At the end of that round, you're going to determine who's the winner by getting whoever has the most points. Also, there is a bonus of 10 points to whoever reaches Tonga Bonga, so that's added into that final as well. Let's head back over and I'll let you know what I think. Okay, so there you see Tonga Bonga, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is one of the things that are probably going to get the first impressions from people who might be playing it or seeing other people playing it, and that is the kind of the form factor, the fact that this is a game where the board is built into the box, so to speak. It's part of what's known as the L board collection by Plate Games, and there have been different iterations of it. This is one that it includes basically 2 side-by-side boards that play together. And this is going to be something that might be divisive. I think it is going to be divisive for many people because with the folds that come within this kind of L board system, you may not have a perfectly flat board. Well, let's just put it out there. You're not going to have a perfectly flat board. To me, it's not a huge concern. I think the game is perfectly playable as is, and I will trade a perfectly flat board for having a box this size with essentially a full-sized Euro game inside of it. I don't feel like that it's too small to be able to maneuver, to be able to see what is going on. And so to me, the production, the form factor is a huge plus because I'm getting a full-size game in a very small size package. Again, your mileage may vary on that. Outside of that, the actual the components themselves are of high quality. There's no complaints at all. The little kind of crew boards that you have are nice thick cardboard. The cardboard tokens work just fine. The nice wooden ships and the cardboard coins are all very high quality. Nothing at all to complain about there. So, getting into the gameplay. Now, this is one that I had not played in its original iteration back in the late 90s or early 2000s. And so this was new to me, coming to this game through this particular edition of it. And there are some elements that I think are really, really smart, brilliant almost, in this idea of you've got kind of this shared incentivization that's going on among players where it's very much a competitive game, but to some extent you're trying to incentivize players to go to your ship so that you can get more movement. But to do that, you're having to kind of give up points because money is points. And so kind of that push-pull of how much money do I offer here? You know, I really want to entice the other players, but I don't want to overspend. I don't want to, you know, give up too many points. That's a really clever mechanism. It's not one that I've seen very often. I can't think of one that is an exact analogy to this. I think there may be some that are kind of, you know, closely related to or things along those lines, but it feels unique, it feels fresh, and this is a game that was designed in 1998. So the fact that it still feels fresh now, I think is, you know, a pretty remarkable thing. So that is my favorite element of the game. The kind of the tokens that are around on the board, kind of incentivizing you to maybe go off the beaten path, to go off the most direct route. That's a nice little decision point that you have to make as well, because otherwise you're really going to be looking at what is the most efficient route that I can get to get those four you know, tents out and then get back to the Tonga Bonga island. It would kind of be, you know, not a lot of decision making there. You're going to kind of go with what's best at any given time. But having those tokens out there can influence your decisions. I'm not going to say that it's going to necessarily change the decisions you're going to make. Sometimes they might, but they're at least going to potentially influence them, and I like that as well. I do like the fact that there is a potential for not complete blocking in the game, but certainly you can impede the progress of other players, make it more difficult for them to take the route that they want to go. It adds a nice bit of, you know, kind of direct, I mean, it's a competition, it's a race, so to speak, but direct interaction, I suppose, would be the word I was kind of searching for there. And so all of that is very, very nice. The biggest issue I think I have with the game is the fact that it does feel, in my plays of the game, it does feel like there is a pretty good potential for a runaway leader and kind of a rich getting richer type of a situation, because when you're the first to get to an island, not only are you going to be given the money, you're going to be getting the 25 coins, but then everyone that comes to that island after you is going to be giving you another 5 coins. So if in a 4-player game, if you're the first person to reach an island and every other player ends up going to that island, you're getting a whole lot of money, and you're already first to that island. So depending upon kind of the route that you go and the route you're able to get, it does kind of lead to a feeling of, you know, there's a potential that this person's so far ahead that really we've got no chance, because theoretically you don't have to get to Tonga Bonga to win the game. Like, that's going to trigger the end of the game, but you don't have to get there to win. But you are losing out on 10 points, which is significant, and you probably means that you're behind the 8 ball a bit anyway, unless you've been going out of your way to get other high scoring possibilities. But for the most part, I do feel like there's kind of a runaway leader feeling that could happen in the game that might bring down the overall experience just a little bit. That being said, I like the crew board so much. I like that mechanism so much, and I do like racing games that in and of itself is enough for me to recommend this game. I'm going to be giving it a 7 out of 10 because, as I said, I do feel like there's a little bit of a runaway leader feeling that can go on, and I do feel like also the game can play kind of similarly from one session to the next. But it is such a clever and unique feeling mechanism that drives how far you move that I have to recommend it almost for that alone, because I do feel like no other game in my collection gives me that. Right? That one really clever hook that oftentimes I'm looking for in games. You know, playing a lot of games, it's rare when I get something that's like, oh my gosh, that's really, I don't know that I've seen that before. And so this gets a lot of credit for that. Besides the fact that it's a very simple to teach, quick to play game. And so it has that going for it. So I recommend it for that. Do keep in mind that, at least in my experience, you've got that potential for a runaway leader where you can kind of feel out of it before the game is over. And so all of that should hopefully give you an idea on whether Tonga Bonga is something that is for you. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. This is Mike DiLisio signing off. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.